Hello everyone, welcome back to FPL Jedi Show. This is the Gameweek 36 preview and it is the double game week. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome Azmin to the stream. How are you after completing Gameweek 34?
Good. Finally back into the one meal rank under 1 meal. So yeah, had quite a solid week. And hopefully after the week before was also a good week on my free hit. So this week I'll be planning to use TC, as you can see from my thumbnail on our screen. So hopefully that will help push me a bit more and continue doing well.
All right, good stuff. Sorry, it's actually Gameweek 35. Now it's Gameweek 36. And like Azmin mentioned, a spoiler, that Azmin will be activating his triple captainship. We will look at his team, and as you can see, myself dropped a bit in terms. I have red arrow, dropping from 44k to 49k, and for yourself, main, because you had an excellent week, jump into inside the 1 million, and to be exact, it's 935,000. So that would be great for you in terms of your moral boosting for the last 3 game weeks, right?
Yep. So just need to push on, and the last 3 weeks is going to be quite tricky, I guess. A lot of theory about which team's on the beach, which team still has something to fight for. At the same time, at the back of your head, you may have teams where some of the players are pushing to go to the World Cup, what the mentality is, and how they're going to play. So it'll be interesting to talk about.
Yep, and also would like to highlight, this will be the last double game week opportunity. Have some points gain, and there will be 2 teams who will play double this week, which is Man City and Crystal Palace. Even though there's a lot of conversation, whether it's worthy to get on board into your team, but this could be the last opportunity if you think that, because 2 fixture is still a 2 fixture. Probably you need to identify which the right player in terms of minutes or potential points. So I think that's the most talking points for this week.
Yep, let's get to it.
All right, before we dive into 6 preview, let's jump a bit into how we performed in game week 35. I scored 53 points, yourself 77 points. The average points last week was 50. Despite 50, I scored 3 points over the average point. It doesn't deter me from getting the red arrow, 44, like I mentioned, K to 49K. So I've decided to roll my transfer last week, and I decided not to get Gabriel into my team. Probably that could be a right decision, because I decide if I had Gabriel, for sure I would not play Senesi, who scored 40 points for both of us, mate, because he actually kept clean sheet, get an assist, a controversial one, and also 3 bonus points. So that's where Senesi points came, 40 points. And for my double leads defense, Dalo and Strach did not keep a clean sheet, and 3 points between them. So a bit frustrating on that point. And Aurelie, City drew 3-3 against Everton, conceded 3 goals, and Aurelie did not get any clean sheet and only left with 1 point for this game. In my midfield, I decided to captain Bruno Fernandes over Haaland. Haaland proved the right decision, I suppose, because he got 2 points extra. Bruno Fernandes got an assist. He nearly scored, but ended up with a yellow card. But he somehow rather get that 1 bonus point. So Bruno, being Bruno, he got that extra 1 point. So 5 points over 7, not much, but we could easily my 55 points this week. Semenyo continued to blank. Cherki, on the other hand, got 4 returns in 5 right now. So I think that's why people are looking at City side with options or transfer. Later we can touch on that. Palmer blank, Chelsea lose miserably in front of your own crowd, lose 3-1 to Forest. Palmer missed a penalty. So that's why 0 points for both of us, mate, because we were, and probably he's on the way out this week. We'll touch on that more. Tavernier blank, only 3 points, 1 point from the clean sheet. Portsmouth against Crystal Palace. João Pedro, on the other hand, at least in my front liner, all deliver because Welbeck returned an assist against Newcastle. Haaland 7 points, and João Pedro got 2 bonus points and scored a goal against Forest. So that's my team, man. How about your team?
So I had Kelleher, very fighting, clean sheet. You could easily have conceded 2 or 3 goals. The amount of times West Ham hit the post, actually, Bradford hit the post as well. But yeah, so it's great to go off, although but annoying because it was I was watching football at the time and then watching being one of those checking, refreshing points, during last weekend, and then Kelleher at one point was up to 10 because he had max bonus points. Yeah, then slowly it drops and drops. Yeah, so that's actually got 1 bonus point with 1 save because he had 4 saves, I think it was. So yeah, but anyway, very happy that he managed to keep a clean sheet against West Ham, who, as we all know, are fighting for survival, and that loss is gonna hurt them as they slip below Spurs, who won their match. So Senesi, as you know, I said Senesi and Gabriel both, and did you? I didn't know. I only realized later how much of a controversy it was. This Senesi to Gabriel move. A lot of people were claiming, the cartel had knowledge of things going on. No, that was the Semenyo versus to Chersky. Yeah, but even the Senesi versus Gabriel, people were claiming that, the big accounts were all suggesting it, but in the end, Senesi was the one who delivered. It was because it wasn't a problem for me because I had both. So right. So I had Gueye instead of O'Reilly's my differential, and in this week it did pay off. I don't know if that will continue to do so because when I brought them as part of the multiple transfers to get to Gameweek 33 for that bench boost week. I deliberately wanted to go slightly differential. Still on the cards because in the bench boost week he scored less than O'Reilly, but just this week they did. So let's see how it happens in next week. We both had Bruno Fernandes, Palmer, and I had Cherki instead of Semenyo. So I did make that transfer from Semenyo to Cherki before the deadline. I was just like, I want to do something. I don't know what. Okay, this has been bugging me, and I just made the move. So in this week, nothing spectacular, but So and of course Okafor, who was listed as a doubt. Look, and Okafor actually posted on his Instagram some visual that he usually seems to do before he plays a game. So I decided, okay, he either plays or he's not going to be risk and won't be on the bench. So I'm just going to take that risk. And it paid off very well. So he did get substituted off early. But yeah, and in the 64 minute, but it didn't matter because he hauled off. He managed quite a double digit. It's very happy with. So Thiago, whom I kept, scoring a goal. It's frustrating for me because I do expect more goals in this one, just like last week when I free hit and kept him. Haaland, of course, and Welbeck. And Welbeck, who I think we're both banking on the fact that he has quite a good goal scoring record against Newcastle, but unfortunately he failed to score this time around. But he still got a blank. He still got an assist, and happy to have him coming up to this weekend where he play Wolves. So nothing much in terms of the bench. Konza, KDH, Anderson's there. Konza didn't play at all. It's part of this rotation thing we have Villa. We'll take a look at the Villa stuff. So I after I knew Konza was happening, I was like, if Cherki doesn't play, I have my mighty KDH to come in. But KDH surprisingly blanked in that one,
Yep.
despite that game going 3-3. He wasn't contribute, but it does showcase, which we'll talk about as well. You know, the Everton are obviously still fighting, and
Yep.
they managed to drag City down in the process, and actually they were leading at one point,
Yep.
weren't
They
they?
almost win.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they could have made off with all 3 points. It took to the very last end for City to equalize. So anyway, so I ended up with a nice 77 points, an increase of about 200k rank. So really good. I actually top scored in a couple of my mini leagues, which was
Yeah.
quite amazing. So happy because, you know, especially when I don't have any chip. So I think it just come off as a few decisions paying off very well. You know, like Okafor, fielding him, not selling Senesi to someone else, and yeah, and yeah, so very happy.
Yeah. I think your team set up for the running for the last game, the 3 game weeks at least, mean, because you had the right City players now, at least in the form of Haaland and Turkey. Guy could actually rival O'Reilly. So I think you won't make that move. You're thinking, if you are thinking of it, right? Because you already made that decision during your bench boost week, I suppose. You had Okafor, which is an excellent one for the past few weeks, because he has been delivering double-digit points. So well done on that. And I think you had the right front lineup in the form of Thiago and Welbeck, because Welbeck, especially Brighton and Brentford are fighting, right, for the European spot, whether they get it, the potentially Champions League spot at 6th place. If that happens, if situation do fall, if let's say Villa end up 5th place and winning the Europa League, we will know tomorrow whether that will happen. But that can be a possibility, and if that spot is potentially can pass or get that Champions League spot, so Brentford, Brighton, and Bournemouth actually in the mix, which is a nice for the last 3 game. So I think, and
Yeah.
KDH is someone that you mentioned. Everton also in the mix, and if you look at the fixture later, probably they also have some decent fixture that you could play KDH with. So I cannot envy your team. Big Callagher also strong in defense. Brentford, they will play at least some good matchup later. Yeah.
Can I just the unspoken team that is no longer is now out of the running for the Champions League, which is unfortunately your Chelsea.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous in the run of form that they're in. It's just loss. It's crazy from
6 loss
from
now.
they were-
Right.
from being the front runners in the Champions League to secure that 4th spot, and now they're pretty much out of the running. It's insane. And yeah, and as a result, just now you said, my team is pretty much set for the run-in. Well, except for one Cole Palmer. So it's something we need to figure out what we want to do. And it's been the subject of a lot of discussion on the internet as well, because a lot of people wildcarded, Cole Palmer a few weeks back to get that bench boost in, and it didn't pay off at all. And he's delivered nothing. So yeah, it's something that we can talk about as well.
Yeah, and people mention about he's not worth it in terms of price, because he's actually around 10 million plus. So he's definitely not worth it, and we shall see where's the money will come in. But I think that's the traffic is looking at the Arsenal players right now. Let's take a look, man. What is happened in game week 35 and what moving forward, especially in game week 36. What I can share in terms of summary. Title race, Arsenal wins and City lost or dropped 2 points. So that opened up to 5 points gap. Even though City still have 1 game in hand against Palace for this game week, okay, which will be the midweek one. So I think that will be an interesting or a continuous battle in terms of the title race. Now advantage to Arsenal, but this game week will be an interesting one because they will play to West Ham, which West Ham are in the relegation battle, are fighting for their life. They need that 3 points. So this can be a tricky match for this game week 36. For City, they will double. Like you can see on the right side, both at home against Brentford, which is also fighting for the European spot, and Palace probably on the beach right now and concentrating on the Conference League title. On the other hand, I just want to touch on the relegation battle because we already touched on that. The significant one was last game with 35. Leeds and Forest got that important wins. They are probably almost going to secure their Premier League status next year with 43 and 43 points respectively. The big one will be that Spurs got that away win against Villa. Nobody expect that because we also predicted that Aston Villa going to got that result. People are plumbing into Watkins and Rogers to get some result not to be. But Spurs are now at least 1 point more than West Ham in terms of Premier League place. Spurs moved to 17th place and West Ham dropped to 18th place in the bottom three. They lost against, like Azmin mentioned before this, lose to Brentford away 3-0. That's a big result for Brentford. In terms of goal difference, Spurs are superior. So means that if let's say they equal in terms of point, Spurs are better in terms of goal difference. For Champions League spot or for fifth and third, Manchester United already secured their spot because they win against Liverpool last game week. Despite Liverpool and Villa lost, but they are still in pole to finish in the top 5. That's all in terms of summary for Champions League spot. For European, the Bournemouth, the Brighton and Brentford, Bournemouth and Brentford pick up that wins. Okay, Brighton despite lose, so they are fighting. They are actually in the 6, 7, 8 place right now. In the midst, Chelsea fails miserably. Let me touch. But let's say extend Everton, Fulham, Chelsea tied on 28 points. They still have something to play in terms of Europa League or Europa Conference League spot because that 6, 7, 8 place could still matter in terms of. So means what do you think, mate, in terms of the takeaway from the last game with result and also this week?
Yeah, so pretty much when it comes to Liverpool and Villa, both teams lost. You know, technically speaking, they still have that Champions League spot in their hands. It's just that, assuming they don't lose their last 3 games and either Bournemouth or Brentford win their last 3, or even Brighton, you know, so Villa better be careful. Liverpool, of course, they are, you know, they don't have any other competition, so you expect them to be able to, you know, all hands on deck and secure their spot. But Villa are living dangerously, and let's see how they line up midweek because it'll give you an idea. Because even they play Burnley, another claret and blue baju rival, and because I know the other claret and blue baju rival, which is West Ham, are hating their guts right now for giving Spurs a lifeline and causing them to jump over them in the Premier League standings. So those are the things that we need to consider when deciding on the players for the last 3 weeks. You know, who's got something still to play for. So we know that. So you got Brentford, for example, 3-0 West Ham. What a great game that was. That was one of the most enjoyable games I watched because it was really back to back. You know, it could have easily have been a massive 7 goals, but it ended up being just 3-0 and keeping a clean sheet, which is incredible. Unfortunately, Thiago, who scored the goal, and obviously Haaland scored the goal. We remember another thing in the back of our heads is that golden race. But Thiago is still 2 goals behind, and City have an extra game to play, so you could think that Haaland's going to push further away. The Wolves-Sunderland game is like, Wolves finally get a point against Sunderland, and then another, you know, again talking about who still has something to fight for. Sunderland, who, as we all know, were promoted this season into the Premier League, looks like they've secured their spot and just letting it go. If you remember, they lost 5-0 the week before, and now they've dropped points to already relegated Wolves. The Arsenal one's a big result, and we also know that Arsenal have also progressed into the Champions League final. So it's really about managing the squad. Arsenal are in for it. So lots of theories as to should we pick the attacking players or not. Now that um, Arsenal are up by 2 points, are they just gonna grind that 1-0 win, or they gonna just keep on scoring? Because this was a result I didn't expect, to be honest. 3-0, which is quite attacking flair from Arsenal, which we haven't really seen much of in the past couple months. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, another one, where Crystal Palace, who seemingly not worried about relegation anymore, and Crystal Palace is the one where Glasner, the manager, was very honest, brutally honest about how he plans to manage his team. He actually announced his squad early and actually provided substitution plans. So he already indicated that Munoz, for example, was going to be substituted at halftime, and he really did it. So it's something to be worried about, especially for us when we take a look at Crystal Palace players. We really need to decide, is it worth it to have two games, Crystal Palace with 2 games, and unlikely to see one game and a bit. It's something we need to figure that out. At the same time, going for someone with a team with something to play for, Spurs. Now, surely we're going to need to take another look after they are battling 2-1 win against Villa. And one we didn't expect, which was Forest finding the way and trouncing 3-1. And another
we can say second team, right?
Sorry? Yeah, and they rotated as well. And they scored very, very quickly. And Igor Jesus was rotated. He did start, and he did well as well, and scored the goals. It's a really fascinating round of especially in terms of the results. There's some unexpected things happening there, and it really makes us need to be really, really careful how we do this. So
I just want to touch on that, man, because you did mention a good Gibbs White could easily return. Right? He did return in that game, even though he been substituted in the second half. He produced an assist for our DG. So this
is the thing. So for Forest, because there was an injury, right? And then Gibbs White was one of those to come in. He was benched, and then the fact that he got injured, it's a concussion injury, means that he's ruled out for the midweek. He can't play. So this is the worry that teams like Crystal Palace, teams like Forest or Forest or Villa, and also Arsenal to an extent, have to be concerned about, because they don't want their players to be injured for in the lead up to some critical games. And for Palace fans, this is the big game that if they're 3-1, they're leading against Shakhtar Donetsk. So if they reach that final, for them it's a big thing, and surely no one wants to, they'll probably be looking at that Forest injury to Morten Gibbs White, think, I'm not going to risk that. So that's the question. It's going to go in their heads. Are they going to go full-fledged in each match? I know, you can say there's a lot of issues. No, they're going to be professional stuff, but it's going to be at the back of their heads. I'm not going to go 100% into that tackle. I'm not going to go full stretch to chase after that ball that got lost. So those are the things that we have to take into account when trying to figure out our FPL picks for the last few weeks.
I think I just want to touch a bit because you mentioned about Arsenal. We don't expect Arsenal result 3-0 against Fulham, right? Fulham could actually produce an upset against Arsenal, which they probably could have, right? But Arsenal, like steamrolling Fulham, Gyökeres scored 2 goals inside that game, and Saka returned into the starting line and scored a goal, despite substituted halftime. Those are the 2 Arsenal players that people are eyeing this game week. I can tell you that. And Arsenal continue to keep a clean sheet, and Raya did secure his 17 clean sheet or something like that. So he probably will end up with that golden glove. And Arsenal are pretty much on the driving seat after that 3-3 result City against Everton, despite leading 1-0. So they safely can take that 1 point because they down 3-1 against Everton at 1 point and scored last minute goals from Doku, a goal, right? And I think that will continue, and probably if they say City drop any, they cannot afford to drop any more points. If they drop against
That's
this Brentford or Crystal Palace, that could be the end, and Arsenal could wrap up probably next week their title, right? So then we might not want to load up in Arsenal if they say they're on the pitch last game week, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there'll be a case for maintaining sharpness and fitness, but it's everything's going to be managed. It's crazy, but of course, if even okay, right now let's say City lose and Arsenal win, then there'll be 5 points up. But still mathematically not safe yet, not safe for the title yet. But it's got to be in their heads, So yeah, that is that risk. So we need to decide, because that Manchester City Brentford game isn't so straightforward either. We've seen Brentford overturn teams at away before, so it's not as straightforward as we look. Obviously, we're going to field all our 3 City assets against because of the 2 games. But the first game, that's not as easy as we think it might be.
And City will play first main. So if let's say they drop points, so after that Arsenal will have more motivation to get points against West Ham. So
Yeah, and the question now, this Arsenal Fulham performance, is that going to continue? I actually put it on myself that I was worried that Harry Wilson was going to score, because he's the guy who can score, but Arsenal getting a clean sheet, of course, those with Raya and Gabriel are very loving it. But Raya for once didn't get any bonus points. I think it was all Gyökeres and Saka there. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge. We know that Arsenal are now through to the Champions League final. Saka, it's all about Saka right now. He got less than 60 minutes in both games. Is he going to play this weekend? There's a big gap though. So you would think that they played Tuesday night, and then the next day they play Sunday. You would think that he would still play, and I'm pretty sure he will play. They want to maintain his fitness, but again, he'll probably be managed in terms of minutes as well.
Interesting also, because Spurs got that win. They're playing Leeds this week, and we can see that probably that match will matters to Spurs more in terms of getting that result. So if let's say West Ham drop points against Arsenal and suddenly Spurs winning, probably that could swing back to Spurs in keeping their Premier League status. So that's also an important match for sure, Spurs and Leeds. And then what else? The European sport team, Brighton playing Wolves, they expect to get that 3 points. Bournemouth away to Fulham, there will be an interesting match. London Derby for sure. But that's the match. Liverpool and Chelsea is the opening match, man, for both of club. I'm worried in terms of how Chelsea going to perform. And Liverpool would definitely want to take that 3 points to secure that Champions League spot, right? Even though you mentioned they are not there yet, but they are soon. They just need to get some points from the last.
One win and that's it. They just need 1 win, and that's it.
Same goes for Aston Villa, I suppose, man. They just need to win against Burnley.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they can focus to Europa League, right?
Yeah, correct. And just now you're talking about how pick Arsenal now, maybe it might not matter later. They may be managed. And the same thing for Villa, because now we want to jump in on Villa assets and pick up Rodgers or Watkins, for example, and then let's say they win this one, and if they we'll still wait on the Aston Villa Forest result, because if Villa win, then that suddenly it becomes high risk to pick up Watkins or Rodgers against Burnley, assuming Villa win that one. Then the last 2 matches, they may not see that much minutes as either. So So a lot of balancing acts to play for. The good thing about this season is that so many teams still have plenty to play for. There's still mathematically it is still possible. Can you believe that Leeds is actually above Crystal Palace, but very just one rank above? So you could argue that Leeds don't have anything to play for, but the fact is they're in a decent run of form. They're just enjoying it at the moment, and they could celebrate. And I don't think there'll be pushovers against Spurs. Spurs are going to be fighting for survival. And
probably you will play Okafor for this game, right? Possibly.
Here's yeah. Oh, definitely. I don't see why they wouldn't play him.
But I just want to mention, man, Everton playing Palace. Palace could rested their players, right? So that could be a great match for KDH.
Definitely. I already earmarked this very early after seeing the last week's Palace non showing up against Bournemouth. I think, okay, KDH first person into the team. And just also a note, especially in terms of schedule for game state. So West Ham play Arsenal, and let's say Arsenal win. That means West Ham drop another 3 points. And Spurs are going into thinking, that's it. Oh, one more win, and I might be it. I'm almost there. So the extra motivation for Spurs is there. So, but will you pick up Spurs players? I know there's with those of us with one or two or maybe two transfers. I'm sure you'll be probably focusing on Palace. If you wanted to bring an extra player this week, and want to have a double game week play, but the thing is, if you have 4 transfers like some people, you have a lot to play for. You can have one. You can pick up one Palace player, because the thing with Palace, you can have them for the double game week, but they may not be around for the last 2 game weeks, or may see very little minutes, if they qualify for that conference final. So but when you have 4 transfers, you can actually still plan to bring them out again. So it's just for the double game, you can have the transfers to spare. But if you don't have transfers to spare, if you have just one, would you really go for a Palace player, or would you go with a team who are playing for something, with the Spurs, with it's Liverpool for that final Champions League spot, with even Villa for that final, also for that Champions League spot. You're going to capitalize on that. But again, Villa, same problem. If they win this weekend, this Thursday, then the question is, are they worth it for more than a week? Yeah. So I don't know. But
since you're on that topic, let's look at City and Palace fixture. So at least that can determine in terms of whether worth it or not worth it into investing. Probably most of us already 3 City players, but no Palace asset, or probably one would be worth it to invest more. Let's take a look at this Legomané visual in terms of fixture congestion. At least for City first, this is where this Brentford game 36 will happen, and then they have 3-day recoveries to play against Palace in the midweek, because they are playing twice this game week, and then 2 days rest before the FA Cup final prior to the next Saturday, which is an important one also to both teams, if let's say they want to win that domestic title, right? But that 2 days period, probably there will be rotation, probably, because after that Chelsea game, 2 days recovery period for that Bournemouth game, which can be tough away, because Bournemouth is still playing for their European spot, right? And then after that, they will have like 4 days recovery on the last game against Villa. Potentially, that might not matter if they say they cannot handle this Brentford, Palace and Bournemouth game, right? Before reaching that Villa match in the last game with the team. For Crystal Palace, on the other hand, they're playing Shakhtar tomorrow, right? Then they only have 2 days recovery before they're playing at home against Everton. Then after that, 2 days recovery period to play City away. So you can see potentially rotation there. And then 3 days after that, recovery before the Sunday match against Brentford. And after that only, they have like 1 week rest for Arsenal. But in mind, if let's say they qualify for that Conference League final, they only have like 3 days or 2 days recovery period before they're playing that final Conference League. So potentially there will be rotation and prioritize that, right? If let's say they're coming to the final. So that's the both situation for both teams. What do you think in terms of CM Palace?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how, because we know the conference final had been set in stone in terms of the date a long time ago, but who would have thought that the final match, the team involved will be Crystal Palace, who will be playing against a team also chasing the title, so and with Glasgow already being forthright about how they need to manage players, and obviously City players might be upset, City, if Palace field a weak squad against Arsenal, especially if they are still fighting to win the title. But Glasgow has no choice, and we've known this season that Palace have one of the thinnest squads in the Premier League. They really short, and then they brought in Nketiah. Now he's injured, but now they have JSL, but they don't really have much depth, and the risk is just really high. Just now we were talking. I was mentioning how rotation aside, but even the players themselves, they're looking forward to the final and are going to manage themselves in terms of playing. Just now I was more talking about tackling or not running full 100% to stretch to catch a ball, knowing a hamstring injury is never far away. All I can say is for Palace, wherever you go, it's a punt. Okay, you're not looking for safety. You don't want to look for, I get 2 starts. That's it. So I know there's a lot of theory about that. Henderson and Lacroix are those who are most likely confirmed to get their 2 starts. So they're more secure in terms of points. But that's a very unambitious way to think about it. You're looking at it and thinking, as long as they start, then it's fine. Then there's 4 points in the hand. And I feel that a 4-point Henderson against a possible 6-point clean sheet for another team who are not in the double is probably more worth it when you look at it, because will they keep clean sheets against Everton, who just went 3-3 against City? Will they keep clean sheets against City, who are chasing for the title? I don't think that happens. So you need a touch wood, you need a penalty save of Henderson to Haaland for it to be really worthwhile. But it's just too hard. So which is what I said, that if you are going to go for a Palace player or two, accept the fact that it's going to be a punt and you're going to be aiming for high points. Don't go for this, as long as they play 2 games, fine. Go for the impact players who you think can come in or have a potential of being spectacular. And for me, that puts in players like Sarr, who you think they'll play maybe 1 game or even 1 game and a bit at the most, because at the same time they can't Glasner can't afford to just totally bench them for both games. Sarr needs to play to maintain some match fitness, just might not see more than 90 minutes. So look at it that way, in terms of you're taking a punt to go with a player from Palace on the thinking that they will be spectacular for this week, not just because they have 2 starts. That's what I think. Yeah. So for City, City is a case of because most of us have already 3. I don't. If you have more transfers, like you, Hafiz, would you? Because last week I did it, Semenyo teacher. Is that something you want to do? And for me, it's also a case of, do I want to go to O'Reilly, from Guehi to O'Reilly? Something that's still also in the back of my head.
Oh, is it? Okay. I think for that case, Guehi to O'Reilly, I don't think it's worth it, because Guehi still can get that 90 minutes, could get clean sheet. O'Reilly might not return in a game, and he already produced did that last week, no return for O'Reilly, but yes, he has potential attacking return in those 2 game weeks at home, potentially, yeah. But if let's say City kept a clean sheet, so he will be getting that clean sheet points, no issue, I think. But the case for Cherki and Semenyo, I think probably there will be a case because Semenyo sub out early, 64 minutes last game week against Everton. That can be worrying, I think. So that's why I feel there's, if they said you kata not worry lah, sideways ni kan. But I look at Cherki, Cherki has been retaining returns for the last 5 game weeks over Semenyo who blank.
And then Semenyo's a double digit, and then Cherki is about 27 or 28 points. So it's crazy.
So at the same time, by doing that transfer move, you could save 1.5, 1.6 million and invest somewhere else, which is a good case for me because I have to have money, so I need to have money, probably from Palmer. But that could be also an option when if I don't have Gabriel. If I want to get Gabriel, you know lah, prices sekarang, right? 7.2 million. So it's like a midfielder now. It's not like a normal defender price. Unless I go for Saliba to save money for 6 million. So I think that's into my thinking. Since you're on that topic, can I share some stats here just to convince everyone? Because I did some research, and it's all from Fantasy Football Scout. So credit to them. I just go for minutes first. We go for Cherki. This is actually inclusive of Carabao Cup and FA Cup matches, and also the last 4 game weeks in terms of Premier League. Cherki there, okay, has been recording at least for the last 2-3 games. Yes, Carabao Cup he plays almost 90 minutes. FA Cup not so much. Chelsea 75 minutes, but then after that, Chelsea lost 3-0, right? Probably already sub out early because of that scoreline. Then 84 minutes, 90th minute against Burnley. Yep, right. Okay, and then FA Cup against Southampton, which he's playing 90 minutes, and then Everton. So the last 4 game weeks. Compared to Semenyo, the last 2 game weeks, he also missed out the FA Cup match totally. Like he doesn't play 90 minutes against Everton and also Burnley. So that can be alarming, which is not nice. I don't want my player to sub out early. I want him to play almost to that 90 minutes to score goals, right? To score any ethical returns. Then after that, we look at Doku. 90 minutes, Everton. Burnley 90 minutes, 87. So minutes kind of secured more to Doku right now, and he's got 2 goals against Everton, right? So his side in terms of, I think that's in terms of minutes, right? Let's go to the stats itself. On the upper hand, XGI for the last 4 game weeks, Cherki comparing to Doku, comparing to Semenyo, Bernardo Silva, I just put also there because they are in the midfield bracket, right? For City, Cherki excel all 4 players, 2.81. He also returned a goal and 3 assists, right? So 4 attacking returns there. And FPL points, 28, probably 3 points lower than Doku, who has actually scored 2 goals last game with Everton that make a difference. But Cherki is still excellent in terms of goal attempts compared to Doku, 17. Compared to Semenyo, 10. So he's more than that. Chances creation is better, big chances also, and big chances created are the best compared to Doku, Semenyo. If I just want to make a case, he has all those perspective. In terms of goal threat, the table below, and assist potential, Cherki also better compared to Semenyo and Doku. In terms of goal threat, minutes per shot better, 90.8. Minutes per minutes box touch also, XG are better comparing to those players. And assist potential, we know Cherki are taking corners and set pieces, right? So he's excel in that lah. So that's make a case if I want to go there lah.
It's a it's a tough one. So Semenyo not getting a single minute in the FA Cup, and starting on Monday and getting subbed out at 64. You contrast that with Turkey, who played 90 minutes in the FA Cup, followed by 90 minutes against Everton. So is there any risk of Turkey not starting this weekend? For it does look, especially from that last tweet, that Pep is relying on him.
Yep.
The swing factor is clear, because if you see, just as you mentioned just now at the start, he was subbed out 71, 75 minutes, those suddenly increasing to 84, and then suddenly it's 90, 90, 90, back to back to back. The only player there in this list who was 90 minutes Wednesday, 90 minutes Saturday, 90 minutes Monday. So it's clear that the reliance has shifted. If you remember when Semenyo came in, he was playing every single minute. And because he was doing so well. And now he's the one who's not doing very well anymore. And as a result, because that 90, 71, 90, he's seen his score less and less in terms of points and in terms of goals. And that has now led to reduced minutes, 64 minutes and 74 minutes. So you got forgotten man Marmoush down there. Don't know if he's going to have any impact, but of course, obviously, we're not going to pick him up. And of course, you got Foden there, who played in the FA Cup, started the FA Cup final. Just a remark that Foden signed an extension to his contract. But so is that going to have an impact? I don't think so. But it's definitely not going to get people on him, because we're all centered for midfield between Turkey and the case for Semenyo. I don't know if any of you have a thing for Doku, who with 2 goals, surely he's going to be in the mix now as well.
I think he's definitely a big differential, mate. You want to go there. He's only owned by 3% managers. So I think he can make a case.
He could definitely make a case. If for those of you who still only have 2, if you don't have a defender and still want to bring in, to go for a third attacker, that's that might be your route. If he is able to do well, I think it's a bit too much. But yeah, and Reinders, who remembers Reinders?
Oh, Reinders, early season, right?
The season, and now it's not the person at all, not even substituted in 0-0-0-0, played in the FA Cup final. So just to conclude this, just to summarize this off, because Haaland is definitely in our favor.
Okay.
So it's a case of Turkey, Semenyo output, it does not favor him. Form favors Turkey at the moment. It does seem to be a case of if you you don't mind going for a sideways move, because it does look like Semenyo is having less and less impact. We saw that goal attempts. If you look at this, the goal attempts still the same, but touches in the penalty area, Turkey is clearly more in the middle, and even Doku is more. Because you got Doku on the left and Semenyo on the right. But you look at that penalty area touches, Doku has so much more than Semenyo, which is quite interesting to see. And but at the same time, you look at those chances created. So the thing is with Semenyo, we've known this in his Bournemouth days, is that he's not one to create much chances, and possibly that is. Pep is slowly realizing it to his impact, because if you remember when Semenyo coming in, he was scoring goals and Haaland was barely getting anything. If you remember that, because Semenyo is not much in terms of that creativity factor, he doesn't have it. But when you contrast that with Doku and Turkey, it's so much more. So while still contributing in terms of goals. So this is your argument to not play Semenyo. To make that move from Semenyo to Turkey or ultimate differential in terms of Doku, because
I'm finding reasoning. So now this reason could sway me into doing.
Yeah, and that especially the FPL points there. Of course, with Doku, it's a bias from one match really having that impact. But with Turkey, it's a more consistent output. So, and even though it's 1 goal, 3 assists, contrast to Doku, 3 goals, 1 assist, but Turkey's just been more super consistent, and he's playing right in the middle, right behind Haaland. and he works much better with Haaland compared to before when Semenyo was going behind Haaland. Cherki works so much better. So for me, it's not because I was convinced last week. So I think you should join the
you
club.
got already that 3 points over Semenyo. He got LCs 5 points there. Semenyo ended up only 2 points. And
I just think because they City against Brentford, okay, it's not a straightforward, but against Palace, that's going to be a hauls for someone.
Yep.
Yes.
So a bit spoiler, man. Cherki is the most transferred in this game week. So we can see that people are reacting to that. So that's the movement that people, and his price already risen to 6.6. Not that much, but it still matters. When you're thinking, if you're short of money, probably Doku or Bernardo Silva, you want to go there. Doku can be really big differential for the last 3 game weeks. If you want to pandai, so which is, I think, interesting. All right, that's for the City players, man. Probably quick one on the Crystal Palace asset if you're thinking to bring anyone in. This is actually visual from robtFPL and data from Solio Analytics. Without the game week 35 because they do not update that point. But I just want to look at the minutes at least, right? We can see there the defenders more reliance in terms of minutes compared to the outfield players. Up front, which is midfield and forward. We can see there Henderson, Richards, Munoz, at least can kill about minutes from game week 32, 34. Although we know 35 they have been rotating, okay. But I think Munoz survived that because he played 90 minutes in game week 35. Okay, losing to Bournemouth. Yeah. So if you want to go there, probably what the people are talking about is get in Henderson or Lacroix first over those other defenders asset. But if they say you have Munoz, you definitely keep him and trust your player and play this game week because he could actually return even though he been subbed in atau bench lah. Richards bench last game week, but there's theory that he already get his rest and probably will play the 90 minutes for the next 2 game weeks. But I just want to point out they're playing at home, right, against Everton, which is a strong team anyway. And then away to City, which is, I don't know, like Azmin mentioned, you heard more from Glasner than me in terms of how they're going to rotate as one team for Premier League, one team for Conference League, right? So probably that's the most takeaway in terms of minutes for those players. Up front, you can see there's potential rotation everywhere, right? Not anyone that have the.
Yeah, if anything, it's after what happened last week, you would think we're all gonna be waiting on the Crystal Palace conference, press conference before the Everton match to decide, and then it will really help us decide where we want to go. But of course, if you find out at that press conference someone like Sarr is going to be benched for Everton, would you still bring him in, knowing that he will probably play against City? That's a or are you going to buy Crystal Palace players just mainly if they know that they were going to start against Everton, and with the City game being a gimme because it's against City anyway. Henderson, Richards, so Richardson getting benched there, and then you got Sarr getting benched, of course, and Mateta as well. So there are cases being made for JSL and Brendan Johnson as those who are more likely to get more minutes, and because they are less likely to be relied on, especially for the conference final, unlikely to start. So the question is, are these players going to step up and do well? It's again, this is, there's so much uncertainty with here, and the uncertainty will be helped a bit once Glasner has his press conference. but the risk is so high in terms of them, in terms of points. Henderson might get saves, but he might probably get concede a lot of goals. It's quite possible. With the punt being whether or not he gets to save, potentially save a penalty. Same with Munoz. The case is, they'll probably get a -1 in terms of their goal difference. But will he make up for it with one of those spectacular goals that he's fond of doing? Even a lucky goal like he did against Liverpool. So that we I mean, because these are the things which makes me, where someone like Lacroix is, if all you're going to be relying on for is DEFCON, then maybe it's not worth it. Because you're going to look at maybe 3 points, so 3 plus 3 is 6. Let's say he gets -1, two for each appearance, so that's 4 points. DC another 4. Let's say he gets DC for both 3 points, but he gets a -1 because they concede more than one, at least 2 goals. So you end up with 6. Yeah. So is that enough for you? Is that something, because where you can get a clean sheet and possibly bonus points elsewhere? And DEFCON, I don't know. So that's the thing. We need to
understand.
Because my prediction is they are likely to concede more than 1 goal. With the amount of rotation that we've already seen that what happened against Bournemouth. I totally didn't expect them to get trashed, but that's the case of that. Why they have that thin squad, whereas a team like Forest still rotates and still trash Chelsea, but that was Chelsea last, so maybe that's a different story. So that's what you got to look at, and that's why I'm hands off Lacroix, because I don't see him contributing anything extra other than DEFCON. Henderson, I still see that penalty saving possibility as a factor because he's good at saving penalties, and I don't know who's taking penalties for Everton at the moment, and
Ndiaye.
Is it Ndiaye? Yeah. Okay. So not we probably don't have him, not like if we have it. So you could have that, because the other penalty save will be from Haaland, and we don't want that, do we? But the possibility is there. And which means that for me it's either Henderson or Sarr, because Sarr is capable of coming off the bench and doing well as well, and that's what we want him to do. So it's not so much about minutes, as long as he get 90 minutes, maybe play early, start one match, gets off sub 70 minutes, and then the second match he comes in as a sub, so plays so total is about 100 minutes total, so which is good enough for me. But on the assumption that he will come and is capable of putting something spectacular off. That's how, for me, that you need to decide when picking up a Palace player.
We do expect,
I can't see anyone else having that. For me, it's either Henderson or Sarr. I can't see anyone else worth it for me to bring in a player who we all know we may get very less minutes in 37 and 38, and I can't afford that if you have only 1 transfer. If you have 3 or 4 to 5 transfers, you can take them out after immediately. So yeah.
So like case you mentioned about Sarr, we do expect him to play that Conference League game, right? And say he play full 90 minutes. What will happen against say Everton game, right? He played 30 minutes. Probably he won't start and play 30 minutes. Then starts against City playing 60 minutes. Probably that the best case scenario, right? 90 minutes, 100 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's and what output you can get from that Sarr, probably there will be a return. I think that's the most that you can expect from Sarr. You can't expect him to play both 180 minutes for that, because that is the division for. I just want to point out here into some other stats. So just to consider, points per start for the past 12 game weeks. The top is Sarr at 5.3. Then second one is Lacroix 5.2, and then Canvot, the replacer for Gehi, right, 4.8. Right. And in terms of expected goal, the highest right now will be Sarr, 0.29, then Strand Larsen, 0.25, and then Lemar to an extent, not so much on there, but Sarr is the top one. Expected assists, Jeremy Pino, 0.32, and then next one, Adam Wharton, 0.27. If you trust him, he's at 5.0 billion. So if you want to just try your luck with him, but lower in terms of value 5.0, right? But in terms of DC, two stand out, Lacroix and Canvot with 11.5, 11.2 respectively. So that's the stats for the past 12 game weeks. There's merit case for Henderson, like you mentioned, mate. If you are going for DC players, you will need to go for Lacroix, Canvot, which is can need. But bonus can give you attacking return at any time. That his specialty anyway. But if they say you want to attack on returns, getting attacking returns is Sa. Yeah, and you can trust Larson or Mateta because they will be sharing minutes, right? So I think that's the summary.
Yeah. So I don't know. Where are you leaning, Hafiz?
If you ask me, even though you say I have luxury transfer for free transfer and so on, in my mind right now, I'm not gonna go anyone there.
Okay.
Will that surprise you?
It would. So okay, yeah. Because you also come in perspective, you're actually quite high rank, and at the same time you have 4 transfers to burn, and if you're not considering Crystal Palace, I'm impressed. so which means that you're probably going to look for those who are still fighting. Those you're focusing on those who are still fighting for something. Maybe Arsenal player or two, and other players fighting for something as well. So I for me.
But if let's say you have 4 free transfer, you will try to get 1 or 2 players in, right?
Okay, so for me, if I had 4 transfers, Sa would definitely be my transfer in. It would definitely be a list because I'm willing. I'm that guy willing to take that punt because my argument has always been that it's a punt. So yeah, I will bring Sa in and just and wing it. And even at 1 transfer in, I'm Sa is not a definite, but I am considering him.
Okay.
Yeah. So
probably I need to open my mind on that, which is nice because we have different approach, right? So great stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, we'll go to our team selection and discuss more.
Yes.
But before we go there, probably we look at the projection, goals and clean sheet for the next 3 game weeks. So probably this could at least set our mind which team to target and so on. In terms of projected goals, Man City are expected to score highest with 9.2. No surprise because they have 1 extra fixture, which is the Crystal Palace game this midweek. So that's why they are predicting 5.1 this game with 36. Yeah. And at second, Arsenal 6.7. The highest will be on the game with 37. 3.1 is because they are playing Burnley, and that will be a money ball game for us. Okay, and they will attack that. Third one will be Liverpool 5.9, which is interesting. 2.0, 1.9, and 2.0 there. And Liverpool fixture, I think they will be Chelsea this game week, and then after that they will play, I think Burnley and Villa and Brentford. Yeah, it's on the other side of the fixture. Villa and Brentford, which is Villa could be on the beach like Liverpool, right? So they have, if let's say they secure at 3 points, they have nothing else to play and just go for it, which is freedom, right? But Liverpool playing Brentford will be interesting on the last game week. Okay, but that is if you want to invest in Liverpool players, they are printing at the top 3. Okay, then the next will be Brighton, United, and Chelsea. But I don't think Chelsea right now after that performance last game week. In terms of clean sheet odds, City and Arsenal is still top, man. City are expected 1.5, probably because higher until they have extra fixture. But Arsenal are also there, 1.3. So there's more. There are valid reasons if you want to invest double defense for Arsenal, probably instead of double attack. Even though they expect to score 6.7 for the next 3 game weeks. Then after that, Brighton consistently up there in the top 3, top 4. Clean sheet also they expected because they have kind fixture, Wolves, Leeds, and then United and home, which United will be on the beach and Brighton still have something to play. So that is the projected goals and percentage clean sheet for those teams and the fixture on the right side, if let's say we want to discuss on the debate lah. What do you think, mate?
Yeah. I would look at teams that are on the beach and target them, and from the just based on the score, because you got Burnley at the bottom and Sunderland, who are right there below in terms of projected goals and not far below as well in terms of clean sheet. And you got United playing Sunderland and Forest. Again, the question of where are Forest after Friday night? If they were to qualify, then I think you picking up an extra United player might be a thing to look at. I don't know. We know that Sesko has been carrying an injury, but Cunha is back. But there's some rumors about Brazil having agreement with United, so to not really play Cunha much for the last of the.
Is that right?
I don't know. Yeah, that's speculation, and we haven't been able to look into that too much. But then also Mbeumo is an option, but then Mbeumo has not been in great form recently. I'll throw you a part there for that United, because it looks like assuming Forest go through, Forest will play a weakened squad definitely against United. Not to say we've seen what the weakened squad can do, so let's not be too blazy about that one. But have you looked at Casemiro as a possible option? Casemiro has returned, I think, at least in the last 4 or 5 matches. Despite being that defensive midfielder, also does the nostalgia thing. His end of the season, his contract with United. That's
he will be leaving United.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is on the assumption that we're not looking at Crystal Palace players for transfers. That's where we got to look. And United is a good place to start. Although the problem is that they are also on the beach. So are they going to see that? Although I do think that Casemiro will play all 3 games, and and that Forest one will be especially thing because he'll be playing at home last game at the Theatre of Dreams. So that's one of the options I'm looking at. Arsenal, of course, fighting for everything, and they have they've got such a favorable last 3 games. West Ham, who are third from bottom, Burnley, who are second from bottom, and Palace, who are not. It's crazy. Yeah. So City, just on the case, it does look like Arsenal will win the league. Something probably has to go wrong for Arsenal for Arsenal not to win. Yeah. So which does bear in mind for City, by the time Villa comes around, if they've already lost the league, are they gonna care? Are they gonna rotate? Will we get players like Marmoush or Foden having more of a thing? So
that'll be interesting.
But it doesn't matter for most of us because we already maxed out on 3 City players already now anyway. So it's a case of we sell them after. So the other team that I'm looking at in terms of picks is Everton, because Everton are fighting for a place in Europe, and they play Crystal Palace, who are not interested, Sunderland, who are at the beach, and the last game is Spurs, and we'll see what happens. But I like Everton at the moment, and I'm definitely, I already have KDH, but if you don't have it, you might consider players like Ndiaye, you mentioned just now, as possible. Yeah.
Probably I go KDH first because he's cheaper, even though Ndiaye on set pieces and also penalty kick. But I throw you another team which people might not see, but Spurs on the run right now, right? Back-to-back win. They are probably wants to continue that momentum and secure that place. Leeds at home, Chelsea away, which is not at the greatest form, right? And I can say that after the FA Cup match here, FA Cup final, so you won't know what will happen. If they say they lost to City, they will be on moral or low moral, and probably Spurs can take advantage. And then at home against Everton, if they need that points, they will go really big in terms of that match. They have 2 home games, which is nice if you want to punt on the Spurs asset. On top of my mind, Richarlison could be the one. if let's say you are thinking about forward. So that can be option. But I think Brighton is the one that you should focus first because they are playing Wolves and then Leeds. And then this is a nice entry point. We both have Welbeck, which is nice, I mean. But others who have DCL, probably they want to make that move. Probably.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy that I have Welbeck at the moment. I think it's very, very crucial. And you're right, another player I am considering as my transfer is Pascal Gross. And takes set pieces and it's very key to the attack. And Brighton are doing. To be fair, there was a setback. They lost against Newcastle last week, but that's not going to hurt too much. Wolves, Leeds, Manchester United are all winnable matches. So, and Brighton might be playing the full strength team all the way as they fight to secure that place in Europe.
Okay, great stuff.
Can I just contrast that quickly with then again Chelsea? Chelsea has always been about getting in the Champions League. They're not getting into it. Are they going to care about getting into Europe for Europa on conference? I don't think so. I don't think for them it's not. I don't want. So there's going to be lack of interest there. So
yeah, definitely. Just end the season, or if you're lucky, you win the FA Cup. Over City.
Focus on that.
Probably. Is there potentially City rotate? Because we don't know what's the situation at the juncture, right? If they say they still continue, they're winning against Brentford and their Palace, and coming to Chelsea, if they're thinking about Bournemouth game, probably there's some rotation can happen in the FA Cup final, right? Probably.
Yeah, definitely we can expect rotation. So let's see.
Min, you're on triple captain chip in. I think you will not play around, right, and captain the best player. Right? This is the prediction from Fantasy Football Hub. Inter Gameweek 36 points prediction. You can see all City players are there, and Haaland is at the top and predicted to score 15 points this week, Min. So I don't think you go anyone else, right?
Nah, I'm playing safe. there just isn't any. I mean, in the City team, they're on the freak instant that, for example, O'Reilly keeps a clean sheet and scores a goal might do better than Haaland, who scores 2 goals, for example. It's quite possible, but there's no point in me risking that. I just don't feel because I don't have O'Reilly, so I go away. So it's more a case of between Haaland and Turkey, but I just can't see myself doing it, because captain, Haaland does have the extra penalty factor to consider. Turkey doesn't. And Turkey doesn't really take. Does he? He doesn't really take free kicks or corners anyway. So it's Haaland. It's gotta be Haaland. I'm not gonna go rogue on this one.
Would you be satisfied he scored 15 points this week, or you expect more?
I expect 20 points.
That's the minimum, right? 20 points, 60 points on the back, man.
It's just that Palace game. That Palace game it's just roadkill. It looks like roadkill to me.
If you got 20 points, it will be like embarrassing for us who triple captaining Gabriel. Someone gave me 24 or something like that. Only got 8 points.
Yeah, tapi tak naklah kira ayam sebelum menetas kan. So I don't want to too quickly.
I think minimum is 10. Busuk-busuk pun. Yeah. But 20 will be excellent.
Yeah, I want 20. I'm ambitious. Because that means additional 20 points for me as a triple captain.
All right. I guess we have a look at our team selection, and then we wrap up. This is my team for this game week. I have no money in the bank for free transfer and currently captaining Haaland. So my team, I just read out, Verbruggen in goal. Then I have Senesi, Van Hat, and then O'Reilly, who play double this game week. Palmer, Tavernier, Semenyo, and Bruno Fernandes. And then João Pedro, Haaland, and Welbeck, who playing at home against Wolves. So I have 3 Brighton players who are playing Wolves, which is nice. And then on my bench, Dalot, Enzo, Hill, and Strudge. What in my mind right now, I think what I need to do, I need to prioritize and getting the Arsenal players over Crystal Palace. It will be strange, right? I should be focusing Crystal Palace. But that game week against Arsenal on right form, they're already in the Champions League. They will be buoyant mood. And Saka also has been has taken return in the Premier League and also Champions League. So he's on the right form right now. So Palmer to Saka is like an easy move, and probably that will be the move that everyone will make this game week if you have Palmer.
Yeah.
But the player that I want is actually Gabriel, who easily could have taken return against Fulham if you saw that match. I mean, so Gabriel, I think is like a must-have, and probably the person that will make way is Sedesi at 5.1 because I need some money there. But where's my money come in? Because Saka is at 9.8, Palmer at 10.3. So I need more money to fund Gabriel. So that can come into the form of the sideways movement, Semenyo to Turkey. And then that will be really the right budget. I have the exact money for that transfers. And if I want, if there is any price move, I really need to make that move. So for now, there's no indication that those three players will have any price rising or Palmer dropping in price. But I will watch out for the next 2 days before that deadline on Saturday, right? Another move that I could make, one free transfer, I couldn't get Sar, right? And so it will be strange if I say I take out Semenyo for Sar and miss out that City players and Max City players. So probably that will the move, and I can't afford any Crystal Palace defense other than Canvot, but I need to take out Van Hat, which will be strange. Yeah? Or I forgot, I have a player there, Enzo at 6.5, take out for Semenyo 6.3. Start at 6.3, right?
Yes,
correct. That can be a move, but who I will bench? Probably João Pedro. That can also be an option. I mean, since you mentioned that, so I will think.
But you could bench Tavernier. Okay, so the thing with Tavernier is that after last week we found out that he's no longer the first choice penalty taker. So that's already lessened his appeal. El Kupi's got it, and it was good penalty as well. So Tavernier is no longer the guy that we that nice variable guy who has so many routes to points. Yeah, so definitely that's an option for you in terms of benching. Fulham, of course, and as you know, Fulham are still trying to fight for Europe. That last game didn't help, but yeah, your Brighton players are great. You've set up nicely, triple up Wolves against Brighton, and your Leeds are benched. So yeah, I mean it's looking good. I think you should go for that Arsenal thing. I think it makes sense. One thing with Saka is we know that Arteta is being very careful with Saka. If in the Atletico Madrid game, he scored in the first half, and that he was with the game only at 1-0. Very could still go anyway, but he still took out Saka at 1-0. So it tells you a bit that Arteta is still gonna manage Saka. But if I wouldn't worry about the X minutes too much, because if he's capable of delivering that impact in 60 minutes, then I think you should still bring him in. I think it's still a good, solid choice.
Good that we have this discussion, so I can open up to that option, and I will decide after seeing that lineup, the Conference League, and I think I will decide on that.
Yeah. I think Saka lock in for you for 4 transfers. Use one of those on Saka. The Sa thing, well, you just now you said you weren't really interested, so let's see.
Let's see. Yeah, but after having this conversation, I will study more on that and potential what kind of risk I can take. But in my mind, that if possible, if there is a chance that I take 3 free transfer in the final game week, because anything is possible in that game week, it would be nice because I can just simply rotate more players, right? But at least minimum 2 free transfer come into that game week 38. So I need some flexibility. Okay, let's go to your team, man. Which I believe you will definitely activating your triple captain. You have 1.5 million in the bank and only 1 free transfer, right?
Yeah. So I've activated my captain. I'm not triple captaincy. I'm not waiting. I don't want to accidentally forget. I just realized my screen frozen, but never mind because I will talk to my team. Not an issue. I'll just continue. So Kelleher is the big problem. So against Dubravka, I'm part of me is wondering whether I should play Dubravka against Fulham, just against Villa.
No, please.
I don't. Yeah, but I have to balance in mind. Kelleher is part of Brentford. They are fighting for Europe, whereas Dubravka's not fighting for anything and against Villa. So at the moment, it's still Kelleher lah. Just a back of me wondering, do I easily go rogue? So Senesi, Gabriel Gueye, no changes there. Fernandez, Cherki, Okafor. Of course, there's that risk of Okafor might get benched, but I don't think so. I think Leeds will still want to make sure they do well and be fair to West Ham as well. They're not just going to lay down for Spurs. Palmer, of course, is my plan to Buang, just in case of a hoof. So Thiago, Haaland, and Welbeck are there. So now it's a case that I want Dewsbury Hall in my team. That's a given. So now the question is, how do I bench? Where is my benching? Yeah. So and when I look at it, Thiago has the worst among all of that. Cherki, Okafor, Fernandez. And assuming I sell Palmer for someone who I will definitely field, then which is maybe Saka, for example, then I need to bench someone, and that's my problem. I could bench Okafor if but Okafor has been doing well for me. So unless
I understand.
that's why the press conference comes in. I said, we got if Fakir starts saying things like, we're gonna look at some putting in some more players, exposing more players to the Premier League, and then I'll be alerted. But Okafor, who remember had a slight doubt, but he was fit enough to play. And he did play, but he was subbed off early again, just so they are taking care of him, which makes me think that he's gonna continue to start, which does present a problem for me in terms of my bench.
So I presume you take out Palmer for Saka, then Saka will play. I think, man, if I'm in your position, I will still play Thiago because you just never know. City can still lead a goal, and Thiago will be there. In the mix to score goal. Probably KDH over Okafor. I understand your love for Okafor because he has been delivering. It's just insane to take him out. But I just analyzed the opposition. Playing Crystal Palace, who definitely will rotate his team. And Spurs will be up to it. So I think that's where I'm leaning to. I'll play KDH over Okafor, even though Okafor has been excellent for you, definitely. The other one that I also will think is the Senesi Anderson. I know Senesi has been delivering 14 points, but now he's playing away. And could Fulham do something to Bournemouth? Probably, but both are definitely excellent in terms of DC points. The thing is, Anderson playing at home, and that's all. So, but probably Senesi could be the right choice, but that will be another dilemma I'm looking at your team. Kelleher definitely over Dubravka anytime. Kelleher could make a lot of save points in this game week if let's say Haaland keeping shooting to the goals.
Yeah. The Kelleher's, the Dubravka, at the end of the day, it does boil down to the quality of the squad, and we know that Brentford's squad has just a lot more quality despite the bad matchup, whereas Dubravka's Burnleys are all over the place. Yeah, thanks for pointing out the Anderson versus Senesi dilemma. It is something I have in mind. Obviously, biases indicates that recent bias says NSC would be the better pick.
Fair.
But I remember in game week 33 was a free hit, and Anderson was on my bench for his 11
11
pointers.
points.
So I remember that as well, even though I did get a nice green arrow in the free hit, but that could have been so much better if Anderson was playing. It's So you saying KDH over Okafor basically?
I think I will do that, but it will be a hard one for you because Okafor has been great.
I have to consider this Thiago thing. It does boil down to Thiago.
I can understand if you want to bench Thiago over KDH or Okafor, but Thiago, mana tahu lah, City win 3-2 and Thiago scored penalty or 2 goals, right?
That's why that last result didn't help. The Everton City 3-3. Ayo, if they can concede 3 goals against Everton, what about against Brentford, which are a very attacking side? At this rate, I might just bench Bruno Fernandes because all he wants is assists these days.
Oh.
So that was insane to think about it. But yeah, this week, looking at those dilemmas, assuming I don't know about Konza, but the dilemmas are such a point that if I think that Konza plays and I sell Palmer, I would have wished I had a bench boost here. Can play everyone. And just to put this, by the way, just to put this as a freak of nature, but it's not likely to occur. I mean, it'll be funny if Shakhtar Donetsk overturn and win against Palace enough. Then I think if that's the case, that will happen. Sa auto in because he will likely play for the rest of the season, right? Yeah. So I mean, just something I think we're looking at content creators around, and I don't think anyone's really looked at that if Palace suddenly not making it. But just to put it out there, if Palace don't make it, I think Sa should be an auto pick for everyone. Yeah, then and for you especially, and of course Henderson. If you want Henderson as well. Henderson not so much, but Sa, maybe Mateta as well should definitely be considered if you don't have the right strikers. If you have someone like Calvert-Lewin, for example, I think Mateta should definitely be an option. Just putting out to you, but Sa should be a must pick for everyone if Palace somehow don't make it.
Interesting. We shall see after that Conference League result. So that's your team selection. You will have something to think for sure. Like before we wrap up, let's take a look at our FPL Jedi League. Quick one. Budu FC still continue his superiority in the league. Is continue to be up there. Scored 62 points, and his team on the right side, as you can see, he has Gabriel Senesi, like Azmin team, already struck. Shirky, Bruno Fernandes, Palmer, same others, but he has DCL, João Pedro, and Haaland. So I think the difference, he has both Gabriel and Senesi. That's why he scored 62 points. And he is up there. Continue to putting gap over 1, 2, 3 goal at second place and myself at third place. So that's Budu FC. Probably it's like your team, almost identical to your team, but DCL over Welbeck.
Yeah, DCL over Welbeck. You've lost ground a bit there, Hafiz. Can you make it up?
It's like tired to do this catch up, but there are 3 game weeks more. We shall see. I think this will be a critical one, 36, because you can gain some ground here.
Yeah, plus you have 4 transfers. Okay, I don't know how many transfers he has, but yeah, you have 4 transfers to definitely make. The thing is, he's similar to you. He also has 3 Brighton players, and he has Gross.
in a different form. He has Gross. I have that.
Yeah, so it'll be very, very interesting to see whether you can make it up.
Yeah, he cannot get Welbeck because he already met on Brighton player. So I think that will be a game changer this game. All right, let's read up the top 10 teams here. At 4th place, Ran FC. Moving up, Fakran Shakirin. Good job. As 11 Yalta Spartans dropped to 5th. FPL Joe Champion at 6, Goodbye Sorry FC 7, Kijang Merah at 8,
6,
place
7.
Lepas Semua FC 2, moving up to 9, and Beta dropped to 10. At one point, Beta was at first place. Right.
Well done, guys.
Right, and I think that's conclusion of our stream for Gameweek 36 preview, man. I think your last word.
A few dilemmas. So let's wait on the Europa and Conference League result. The Europa result will be could be pivotal as well. Yeah. If, let's say Villa don't win, so are they going to pick the full team? Then even Watkins could be a auto pick there. But if Villa lose, if Villa lose against Forest, so if Forest lose against Villa, let's say, do we consider Forest picks? Yeah, so it's I'm just throwing out there the unlikely scenarios, but
one of them will go out definitely. It's just Villa or Forest, and
so
whoever wins has a chance to win a place to Champions League spot, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's another thing. Those who win, should we still look at their players for 37 and 38, knowing that they're probably gonna not care about that anymore? So yeah, especially Forest, not so much Villa, because Villa is still qualifying to the league spot, assuming they win. So yeah, it's plenty to talk about. I hope we can get a Friday night stream in. I don't know. Let's see how we go. But there'll be a lot of changes. There'll be more to unpack after the results on Thursday night. So yeah. So good luck. Don't make any transfers yet. There's so much at stake. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for joining this session. Do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel, and do support us. And until then, continue to monitor all the team news and also the result of European competition. And finalize your team. Remember, the deadline will be on Saturday at 6 p.m. Malaysian time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.